if I only do a Julia Child voice the entire time? Woo! Welcome to Trend Beginner Recipes. Hi, I'm Nikita Richardson. I'm a senior staff editor for NYT Cooking, and I'm here today to go through 10 beginner recipes, absolute beginner recipes. No experience needed, that anyone can pull off. Doesn't matter if you have all the experience in the world or none. We all have to start somewhere. Even if you do know how to cook, these are simple, delicious recipes for those days where you're way too tired to do anything more complicated, and they'll be delicious and satisfying and not too many dishes. If you just go slowly and take your time and read all the directions, it shouldn't be a problem. Sorry I pointed at the camera. Sorry I did finger guns. Because I barely like to cook. I go out to restaurants a lot, but I love cooking for other people, and I can cook. And when you get to share that experience with people or even for yourself, you'll always feel accomplished. The idea behind this is kind of modeled after Couch to 5K, you know, the program where you can go from never having run ever to being able to run 3.1 miles. Through these 10 recipes, you'll be going from basically, I don't know how to cook, to I can kind of cook and enough to impress people and yourself, most importantly. Level 1, we're going to make a beautiful tuna topping along with all kinds of fixins that you can put on it. So what we're gonna do first is take our tuna packed in oil. We're going to add 3 key ingredients. We have our mayo, we have soy sauce, and we have sesame oil. Just gonna mix that, incorporate it. So I'm going to put this with my rice, and then how you decide to top your tuna and your rice is really, really up to you. For a cocky. And look at that, we never turned on a stove to get to this extremely flavorful point. Guacamole. It's the easiest sit-around snack you'll ever make. So we're gonna start by putting our white onions in here. And what we're gonna do is add lime juice. And if you let the two get together, it's gonna mellow the sting of the onions. And then jalapenos. So the thing with jalapenos is, step 1, when you're done, wash your hands. Peppers have oils on them. Get it in your eyes, get it into any other unfortunate places, and it will sting. You can choose your spice level based on whether you keep the seeds in. As you can see, they're all right here. Dice it. I'm not a professional dicer. I'm not a professional chef. I'm just a home cook. You know what? No matter how you cut something up, it'll still be delicious. I like to put it together and then kind of like put my hand up here and just move along the board, keeping it anchored on this side and just moving. And of course, the sharper your knife is, the faster any of this goes. And in they go. In your avocado. I'm just gonna cut it right in the middle, and I move it around the avocado, kind of trying to make sure I'm going along the same line, and then twist it. And I opened it right up. Put your thumb around the pit and kind of work your way around it and separate it from the rest of the avocado. Cooking 101. If it didn't taste great, it probably was undersalted. So don't be afraid to use it. I like a good kosher salt. Also, I don't think that there is an actual limit to the amount of black pepper you can put in anything. There we go. Go with this. That one came out easily. A barrier to cooking can sometimes be, I have to have all this special equipment to do it. And the answer is you really, really don't. Everything in your house is a good start. Your fork is a good thing. That's what we're trying to do with these, is make them super, super accessible to even the most basic home cook. My right arm is about to be so much bigger than my left arm. This is another opportunity to add just a touch of salt. And of course, taste as you go. Then you can make sure that you're not oversalting or you're not undersalting. And remember, you can add in things that also enhance it. Cilantro, tomatoes, anything that you feel like makes it brighter, works with your taste, works with your guest's taste, and that you know that everyone will enjoy. Very cheesy, crisp-edged quesadilla, which is also the first thing I ever cooked for myself. You're gonna start, I'm gonna go for medium-ish. I'm going to put cheese in here, and not just in the middle, everywhere, so that some of that cheese is gonna get outside of the quesadilla and become very crispy on the edges. Because you also want browned cheese, it's even better than just the stuff in the middle. There isn't a limit to cheese. And I'm also going to put some hot sauce in here. And it's starting to bubble on the edges, which is a very good sign. Close this up. I feel like I'm doing a really good job. All right, looks like we have some color. Okay, and then oof, yes. The beauty of the quesadilla is that it's a blank canvas for your dreams. Oh my God, I love quesadillas. Breakfast time. French toast. The best, the easiest. Anyone can do it. I was not confident, but it still worked out for me. Takes confidence to build every skill. And I'm gonna put my milk in. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to add my salt. And I just wanted to get it incorporated until it becomes kind of, you know, canary yellow. Your lovely bread. A lot of breads work. And you know what's really good for French toast? Old bread. Because you're basically gonna be revitalizing it with your eggs and your milk. And it's crazy how something like this becomes something as delicious as French toast. This one, there you go. I'm gonna flip it. The second side always cooks faster. It's just science. The heat's already there. Maybe you're an agave girl. I don't know, whatever gets you going. I did a great job, again. This cheesy eggs with toast recipe. We're gonna start off by cracking my practice egg, just in case I don't know how to crack an egg anymore. Hell yeah. I'm going to season my eggs with good old salt and pepper. Delicately make sure I'm breaking up those yolks. Just let it go. Once it's all melted, I can take my bread and pull it through the butter, making sure it's getting all over the bread. And that's also gonna give you that browning that's so delicious. Use your bread basically like a sponge to soak up all the butter in the pan. I'm gonna take my second pat of butter, put it in. I'm gonna flip this over already and then go in there and start mopping immediately. See? And that took, what, half as much time as the first half did? So next we're gonna add in our eggs, and these are gonna be better than your average scrambled egg because there's so much butter in them. Butter makes everything delicious. And swirl. Add in my seasoned eggs. And you're just kind of moving these around and you start to see it solidify. When you think that it's underdone is when it's actually done. This is how you prevent having those eggs that are rubbery, overcooked, is to let them be very gently scrambled. So what we're gonna do now is remove it from the heat, go in with the cheese. You still have all that residual heat left over, but you know that you have control over your eggs getting to a point where they're no longer delicious. You basically wanna go until your cheese is incorporated into the eggs, very melty. Put them on top of your toast. Going in. Yep. And there's your simple breakfast. Nothing is easier than putting a ton of vegetables onto a sheet pan, popping them in the oven, and letting them go. Your main takeaway though needs to be make sure they are vegetables that cook at similar times. What we have here is, a real mixture of sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, mixed mushrooms, tomatoes, zucchini, broccoli. These are going to work very well together on a pan. So I have some oil here and I'm just gonna drizzle it. And then I'm gonna start mixing these in. And it's okay to get your hands dirty. Again, salt does tremendous things. Fresh pepper smells so good. I love when you can smell exactly what something's going to do for your palate. Everything is well coated. You can always add a little more oil. You can add a little more salt. It's by feel, right? The more you trust in yourself, the better cook you're gonna become. Take these sprigs of thyme, put them in here, and they're going to be aromatics. And we're gonna take this and put this in the oven at 425. So to go with the roasted vegetables, we're gonna have like a very garlicky yogurt sauce. I have a microplane here. This is great to have in the future, but if you're just starting out, use what you have, chop it up if you have to. It'll be good, it'll be delicious. This is 1 clove, but you can go 2 cloves, you can go 3 cloves. The limit does not exist. Right in. And essentially all you're doing is taking your Greek yogurt and essentially seasoning it, right? Once you have this recipe under your belt, you can use it over and over and over again, and it takes very little effort to make, which is lovely. And just imagine right here, the chicken you're gonna make later. You want a really like very solid meal, but you aren't familiar with a lot of proteins. Nothing is easier than salmon. It cooks incredibly fast. It's good for you. It tastes great. We have 2 salmon fillets here. They've been patted dry. And that helps make sure that any seasonings you put on it are going to stick. We're gonna put half a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna eye it, but I'm just gonna make sure like, you know, it's like every part is pretty covered in salt. Also getting on the sides. And a benefit of having the aluminum foil is that when you're done, there isn't gonna be much mess, and that's gonna make your life so much easier. We're going to make a very lovely mustard and olive oil sauce that we are gonna brush onto it. All the way across, making sure I'm getting every side of the meat and that it's really covered. This is not just going into the oven, it's going under a broiler, which means it's gonna cook very quickly, really just a matter of minutes. You can serve this with your roasted veggies you learned how to make. You can serve it with your leftover rice, whatever you want to serve it with. A squeeze of lemon goes such a long way on almost anything. And as you can see, it's flaking when I press down, which tells you that it's ready to go. Unprofessional. I'm walking away. Delightful. So we're gonna go next into a very simple, very approachable curry. It's a very good base recipe for when you need something comforting but full of a lot of beautiful flavors. This one also happens to be vegan, which is nice. A can of coconut milk. What you're gonna find at the top is solids. And you're gonna scrape that off and you're gonna put it in your pan. And if it's like all mixed in, just put a few tablespoons of your coconut solids and milk in there. Do what onions do best, which is cook down in fat, as well as broccoli stems. And you'll know they're cooked down when they start to soften and turn kind of clear, and they don't look like the onions that you put in the first place. And of course, as we go, we are seasoning the entire time. And so then once your milk solids have started to brown, you'll start to see them along the bottom of the pan. You're going to put in curry powder, Stain's fingers. And then, to keep everything from sticking to the bottom, you're gonna use your coconut milk. You're deglazing, which gives you a chance to really get anything off the bottom that's down there, and those toasted flavors from the coconut solids, they can really marry once you get your full liquid coconut milk in. I'm starting to see very small bubbles. And so once it's simmering, you're going to add your tofu. in. Just be very careful adding it. You don't want to splash it up on yourself. Gingerly put it in there. Ginger would be very nice in this. And you're gonna add your broccoli. This is another opportunity to salt, because you have just increased the amount that's in here. And salt helps vegetables release liquids, which is super nice for getting the flavor of those vegetables into your food. And lock in that heat, which is going to do an amazing job of steaming your broccoli and helping it soften. And again, tasting as we go. As usual, it could always use more salt. And just go in there with it. And again, it's vegan. You'll love to see it. If you're cooking for a large group or you just need lunches for like an entire week, chili is your best friend. It stretches and it satisfies. It will not let you down. We're making a very simple turkey chili, and a nice Dutch oven will do wonders for you. You might be familiar with the chilies that start with you essentially browning your meat, but in this case, turkey doesn't have a ton of fat. It's gonna cook in our liquids, so we're gonna start with our onions to add that kind of browning that we want in the chili. Make sure everything is covered in fat. And I have this whole can of whole peeled tomatoes, and I'm gonna fish these out. We are gonna use the liquid, but not quite yet. Right in there. And this is when I'm gonna go in with my salt, because we know that the tomatoes are full of water, very full of water. And this is gonna help draw that out and bring out their flavors. That was a nice action shot. Yeah. I'm going to sprinkle in my chili powder. And this is a good amount. That's why it's called chili. I'm only stirring it in until it becomes fragrant, which is gonna be very quick. It doesn't have to sit in here for very long. And then I'm gonna add in my turkey and my liquid from the tomatoes. And your turkey is gonna stay super tender because it's being cooked. It's more being braised than, fried up. Stir that in. And this is another opportunity to salt. And you're gonna put in as many chipotles as you are comfortable with in terms of spice. For this recipe, 2 to 3 should work, but know that there's heat and you're gonna smell it coming right off too. I'm gonna let it reach a simmer. It's already pretty much there. Turn my stove down just to keep it going and let all these flavors really build up a gorgeous marriage, and then cover. And look at that, that was like 20 minutes of work minus prep, so. You can go longer if you really, really want to develop those flavors, but if you're super hungry, 20 should do. And then the toppings that you put on there are really, again, up to you. You can put whatever combination of things that you really like for that delicious soapy taste. Just kidding, it doesn't taste like soap. Herbaceous. There you go. Congratulations, you made it to the end. There's one thing that everyone says everyone should be able to make, and that is a nice roast chicken. In this case, chicken thighs. Chicken thighs are nice because they're dark meat, so they're going to stay nice and tender and juicy throughout the cooking process. And then your chicken thighs, these are patted dry, of course, which helps anything that's delicious adhere. I'm going to season these all over with 3 things: salt, pepper, oregano. Make sure that the chicken is seasoned all over, because nothing would be worse than having some of your chicken seasoned and some of it not. What's the point? I'm gonna drizzle it all with olive oil, your kitchen workhorse. And this is gonna help your chicken brown. It's gonna help everything get that nice, developed crusty coat on it. And don't be afraid, we're going in, we're putting our hands in, we can wash them afterwards. We can come back from this. I'm going to take my chicken thighs, and I'm going to place them on one side of the sheet pan. And you're going to want to make sure that your skin side is up so that it gets all that heat exposed to it and it becomes beautiful and crisp. And on the other side, we're going to put our potatoes and lemons. And if you want, this is another good opportunity to hit everything with a little salt. And because we don't want the cross-contamination, you can always put your salt into another separate bowl and use that specifically for this, and then anything that's left over, let it go. Ugh, my feet. Everything is nice and crisp. The lemons have been cooked down to the point where you could just eat them straight off the pan. I'm not kidding. And so for the other half of the lemon that you put aside, you're going to squeeze that lemon all over. Don't be shy with it. It wouldn't be a Melissa Clark recipe without the lemon. Get that lemon juice mixed up with all your brown bits. If you want more of that fresh oregano taste, then you can take it and sprinkle a little on top of your chicken and the potatoes and lemons. Those are really good. Congratulations, you did it. I hope that all of these recipes have made you feel like a more competent cook, someone who can cook not only for themselves, but for others, and that you feel capable of sharing your newfound talent with everyone around you. Keep on cooking, keep on trying. The more you do it, the better you're gonna get. It actually makes me wish I cooked more. Yeah, there you go. The system worked.